Good morning and welcome to Cuyahoga County's Community Development Committee meeting. Today is Monday, October 30th, and this community development meeting will start at, my phone says 10:04 a.m. Madam Clerk, would you get us started, please?
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll for Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent. Ms. Simon. Ms. Simon is absent. Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in for public comment.
Then, hearing that there's no public comment, I ask if my colleagues have had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting, and if so, are there any additions, changes, or comments? Hearing none, I move approval of those minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, let us get to the business, the people's business today.
We'll be taking items out of order this morning. Resolution 2023-0299, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to Olympia Foundation Incorporated for the rehabilitation of the Olympia building from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Is there someone here representing the Olympia Foundation? Ms. Whitner, is that you?
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Wintner, representing the Olympia Foundation, the owner of the Olympia Building.
Okay, thank you. We have a request before us today of $250,000 in ARPA funds. It is my understanding that there have been increases in everything that is construction related and or has any appliances in it when it is a building. So you want to tell us what happened to the cost here? Because I understood that at one point in time, you thought you had a capital stack that worked.
That's correct. We've got funding from OFA for almost $1.5 million. We've got funding from the city of Cleveland for just under $500,000. And the developer is deferring, the nonprofit developer is deferring its entire developer's fee. And we still have a gap of $250,000, which this amount will make the project feasible.
Okay. Are there any other comments?
Yeah, do you want me to do the, okay. We have just a very brief presentation to give you an idea of the project itself. You'll see on top a picture of the historic building from over 100 years ago. The building is located at East 55th and Broadway. There is ground floor retail and 20 apartments on the top 2 floors, 4 one-bedrooms and 16 two-bedrooms. What's especially important to note is that this building has a project-based Section 8 contract. It's an obsolete mod rehab contract, however, which means rents are close to $300 per month per unit below what they should be. Yeah. So we are in the process of going through HUD's RAD conversion to get a current Section 8 contract that will bring us up to an amount that will be able to sustain the building.
So for those of us who don't live in the HUD world, what does RAD mean? It's a rehab.
You're going to have to fill that out for me.
I forget what the acronym
Something
means.
demonstration program, which
But
is
it
a
allows
permanent
the
program.
rents to it be restructured to accommodate the needed cash flow.
Exactly. Part of the problem with this building is that the rents have been so low that it's impossible to cover all the operating expenses, let alone make improvements. So it has deteriorated significantly. A gut rehab is required.
Okay, when was did the acquisition of this building take place already?
The acquisition has occurred, and we are hoping to begin the improvements beginning of 2024. This just gives you a little bit more.
Will each of the units be each of the residential units be rehabbed?
Every unit will be rehabbed. Currently, the building is just over halfway occupied. Tenants will be temporarily relocated, and they will be able to come back to their beautiful brand-new units, still only paying 30% of income.
Are you working with Slavic Village?
Yes, we are. We are. And it's been a rough go, but they're helping us out
Well,
at this
they've
point.
been in transition too.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I wish you luck. Is there a motion to move this to the full council? Yes, because it's ARPA money. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion to move this forward to council. It has to go through all the readings because it is ARPA funds, and that's what we decided we would do. You will not be called back to the podium again unless there's a problem. You can watch it live stream as we move through the process. Talk to staff on your way out. There's a motion on the floor, no additional comments. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, this moves forward to the full council. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Resolution 2023-0295, awarding a community development grant in the total amount not to exceed $250,000 to Warner and Swayze LLC for the benefit of a mixed-use real estate redevelopment project for a property located at 5701 Carnegie Avenue in the city of Cleveland.
Morning.
Good morning, committee, Trevor Mackler, County Council staff. Just wanted to give a brief history as a refresher to the council members that in March of 2021, the council approved a $1 million loan for this project located at 5700 Carnegie Avenue. It was I believe at the time, 3% loan over 15 years. And at that time, it was presented by the Department of Development, the council president, that they would be bringing forward a $250,000 grant from the Community Development Fund, which is funded by the casino dollars. So this is not an ARPA-funded item. The $1 million in 2021 was funded out of the Department of Development's Economic Development Fund. And Ashley Shaw from Midtown is here to present the project. You have seen a lot of those slides, but it was over 2 years ago. So she's going to present the project again. It's a mixed-use space. It's currently vacant. So I just wanted to make sure the committee understood that this is not an ARPA-funded item.
Thank you. Welcome, and the tradition is for the record, please state your name, the agency you represent, and your position with the agency.
Thank you, committee members, for meeting with us this morning. My name is Ashley Shaw. I'm the Executive Director with Midtown Cleveland, and I am joined here by my colleague, Ed Peppers.
Good morning. Edward Peppers, Vice President of Economic Development, Midtown Cleveland.
And I'm going to share a little bit about the neighborhood context for this project, and then Ed will get into the details of the project. And I did want to thank, I know he's not here, Council President Jones for introducing this to Council. So Midtown Cleveland is the Community Development Corporation serving the Midtown, Asiatown, and Huff neighborhoods. Midtown is the neighborhood between downtown and Cleveland Clinic's main campus on the east side of Cleveland. We are bordered by Payne Avenue to the north of us and Cedar Avenue, to the south. Midtown is largely a commercial, industrial, and institutional neighborhood. As you can see from the land uses on the map here, we do have some residential. We've got about 2,000 residents, but that number is growing. We've seen an increase in demand for housing in our neighborhood over the last handful of years with the investment that's taking place. And a real need to start to meet the demand for housing in our neighborhood. We currently have about 2,200 residents in the neighborhood. We're a majority Black neighborhood. Median household income is around $20,000. And we've got about 42,000 people, or 40% of our neighborhood is living below the poverty level at this point. And so our residents say that one of the best assets of the Midtown neighborhood is its location. We are centered between downtown and University Circle, as I mentioned. We are a transit-connected neighborhood. We're one of the largest employment centers in the city of Cleveland outside of downtown and University Circle. And so the proximity to job opportunities is also desirable for our residents. And that's not just the case for the 2,000 residents that call Midtown home, but also the number of residents that live to the north of, in the south of us in Asiatown, Huff, Fairfax Central. Those amenities and assets that exist in Midtown also help to benefit the residents surrounding us. As I mentioned, we're seeing an increased demand in housing. We've got people who want to live close to where they work. We've got students from both from Case Western and Cleveland State moving to the neighborhood because of the close proximity to the universities. And so, again, a real dire need to start building new housing of all types to make sure that we're meeting the demand and not pushing out the people that live in our neighborhood today. In 2021, we worked alongside of our residents to create a neighborhood vision plan. This is the first neighborhood-wide master plan that the community has had in over 15 years. I won't read the full vision statement, but I do want to call out one line here. The Midtown neighborhood is a place for connection, belonging, in the joyful celebration of the patchwork of cultures and communities that make up Midtown. That vision is present in all of the work that we do, and I think is representative of the project that we're presenting in front of you today. The Neighborhood Vision Plan developed 20 strategies and over 100 goals. Housing was front and center in a lot of the strategies that came out of this Neighborhood Vision Plan. Reduce housing stress, encourage new housing developments of all kinds, address blight and vacant buildings, preserve legacy buildings. Warner and Swayze is actually called out multiple times, specifically in this Neighborhood Vision Plan. Residents want to see, as I mentioned, new housing of all types, making sure that we're addressing the blight that's in our neighborhood. I think the Warner and Swayze building in East 55th and Carnegie is probably one of the biggest blights in our neighborhood currently. Again, just encourage new housing, preserve legacy buildings, make sure that our historic housing or historic buildings, if we're able to preserve those are naturally more affordable housing than building new construction. And so again, that's a way to reduce housing stress. Address vacancy in our neighborhood. Again, that's one of the biggest vacant buildings in our neighborhood, one of the most visible vacant buildings in the neighborhood. Create community gathering spaces. One of those spaces that's called out is creating a large gathering space around East 55th and Euclid Avenue, which I'll talk about in a second. And then continue to build out the innovation economy. This project will have up to 26,000 square feet of commercial space. And we're being intentional that those commercial users benefit and give back to the community. Referencing the public gathering space around East 55th and Euclid, one of our major initiatives for this year is starting to look at East 55th between Chester Avenue and Carnegie Avenue to redevelop that square into a vibrant public square like it once operated. The East 55th and Euclid intersection was historically known as Penn Square. It had a train station, dense mixed-use buildings, was vibrant and active. And so you can see here, there's an opportunity to pull in the future residents at Warner and Swayze at East 55th and Carnegie, and the residents that live at East 55th and Chester and CMHA's Wilson Tower into what happens at the intersection of 55th and Euclid. It's transit connected. There's job opportunities to the east and west along Euclid Avenue. There's opportunities on all of the corners for redevelopment of green space and mixed-use buildings. As I mentioned, we'd love to revitalize this square into a vibrant public square like it once operated. Penn Square is one of the part of the network of historic public squares in Cleveland. You have Market Square on the west side, Gordon Square, Shaker Square. You've got Van Aken is inspiration for what we want to do at East 55th and Euclid. Penn Square is one of the only historic squares that hasn't been brought back to life yet, and we want to do that by bringing in the residents to the north and south, including the future residents of Warner and Swayze. And so there's opportunities, I mentioned, for new mixed-use development. We're working on a trail project that we're going to start planning for early next year that would take you from the lakefront to Opportunity Corridor through East 55th and Euclid and actually through the Warner and Swayze development at Carnegie. Here are some precedent images for what a Rails to Trail project could look like. A lot of these photos are actually examples from the city of Cleveland trail network already. So this would continue to build out that trail network, but on the east side of Cleveland. We would address the railroad bridges with public art, trying to break down the physical and social barriers that exist today with the railroads at East 55th and Euclid and Carnegie Avenue surrounding the Warner and Swayze project. Public art on the buildings that exist here through murals like Midtown is known for. And so we are getting ready to make some investments into the public right-of-way surrounding this project and bring the square back to life. And that's why bringing this building back to life at the same time is so critical.
Thanks, Ashley. Ashley did a great job of kind of going through our vision and the importance of Warner Swayze to Midtown Cleveland. For Warner and Swayze, we being Midtown, have partnered with a group called Penrose. Penrose is a developer headquartered in Philadelphia. They also have an office here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Penrose is a nationally acclaimed multifamily developer. They do build a quality project. They do have a commitment to diversity and are very, very enthusiastic about this project. They've been working on this project for several years, and it's finally coming to fruition. And just to let everyone know, their director of development actually came to Midtown's annual meeting a couple of weeks ago, and he was just thrilled to be there and talking up this project. In general, they just really want to see this happen. It's a great project for them, us, and the community. Just a little visual of Penrose. You say they do have a great, great presence around the United States of America. And they actually have done work in Cleveland already. St. Luke's Manor. This is the before of St. Luke's. And when they finish, this is what St. Luke's looks like today. Warner and Swayze. This is a picture of when it was in its heyday many years ago, around World War II. Famous for doing turrets for tanks. Instrumental in us in World War II, the United States of America. This is Warner and Swayze today. As you see, it's been vacant for decades. I will say a positive for Warner and Swayze. We've had architects, engineers take a look at this project. While it does have some issues visibly, they say that the structure, the bones of this building, if you will, are very strong. It's a very good building. Working with Penrose, as you see, there's already a vision in place. They kind of did some great pictorials for past, present, and future. There's a huge billboard planned to be on top of this as well that can benefit the city, Midtown, kind of being a gateway going from downtown to the University Circle area. And that is planned to be reenacted. Again, the future, workspace, office, first floor retail, all planned for this when we're finished with the financing. As well as outside area where all those bays were you saw that were vacant, gathering spaces for the residents and the community. And again, as you can see, every inch of this property will be used for Midtown's benefit. This is just a quick site plan. I know you all have the presentation. I won't spend too long on it. One thing I do want to picture to you is the first floor. We'll have commercial space, as Ashley mentioned, approximately 26,000 square feet of commercial space. Second and third floor will be 56 senior housing units, 4 and 5 family housing, and the next phase will actually be market rate workplace housing units. The sources of financing, we've already received 9% LIHTC, which is low income housing tax credits. 2 actually awards for that. This project was started before we weren't allowed to use federal and low-income housing tax credits at the same time for historic, so we also received federal historic tax credits as well as state historic tax credits. And as the stack grows, there's just multiple soft financing. City of Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, we did get Brownsfield Award and Federal Home Loan Bank, as well as City of Cleveland funds. Just a pictorial of what the actual mix will look like. Once completed, 140 total units, 56 senior, 56 family, and 28 workplace or workforce housing units. Warner and Swayze, when we partnered with Warner, they actually came to Midtown. They have a big belief in Midtown, and they've done this around the United States, and they're a great partner as they read our vision plan. They believe in the vision plan. They want to help us remove blight. They specialize in rehab of existing buildings without tearing them down. This building is huge. It's a catalyst. Everyone sees it. It's definitely going to catalyze future development in Midtown, as we already have some great progress going with development. Provide much needed housing, low-income housing, as well as affordable workplace housing. It will develop jobs for the community. I'll go into that in just a second. Commitment to economic inclusion and equitable development. You'll see some information on the next slide on this. Again, the big points to this project. It is an existing vacant building. It was slated to be torn down, to my understanding, many years ago. That didn't happen. No displacement. We have an architect, Moody & Nolan, who is an MBE, and that is the largest soft cost in this building. Approximately 120 construction jobs once this is started. And we do want to provide, for the commercial space, office space to an organization that's going to promote job training, job readiness, also in alignment with the vision of Midtown Cleveland. As you see, the city funding comes with the expectations, and Penrose is committed to use good faith efforts. 15% MBE, 7 FBE, and 8% Cleveland Small Business. Also, the Fannie Lewis resident employment, as I'm sure you know, the 20% Cleveland residents for the construction, and 4% of the employees being certified as low-income residents. Really, that's what this project is. It's a great project. It falls in line with our vision. Penrose has been a great partner so far, and we look forward to closing this gap as soon as possible and getting under construction, hopefully, in mid-2024. Any questions?
If you'll hold on a second, my colleagues. Mr. Kelly, do you have a question? Mr. Gallagher? This loan, this grant is to Midtown, or is it to the LLC that is holding this project?
The LLC.
Do you have a participation in this deal as the nonprofit?
We will likely be 25% partners in the project.
So therefore, you're an owner's rep today. The workforce units, they're closer to market rate than the low-income housing tax credit controls that are in the senior and family housing. Is it 140% of median, or it's just open market rate?
Open.
Okay. I love that. That may give you a little extra income in the future. May. Notice the verbal usage. Okay. Has title transferred on this building?
I don't believe title's transferred yet. I believe it's still with the city of Cleveland at this point. We're looking to close, ma'am, mid-2024.
So when do you think construction will begin? Because you know what? Title transfer always tells me when construction's going to begin. So if title's not transferring till mid-24, construction's not going to begin until the end of 24?
Actually, as soon as we can get the gap closed on the financing, Penrose is ready to actually transfer title, take possession, and get under construction immediately. Again, they've been working this deal, to my knowledge, for 7 years with just Penrose.
Okay, so the gap that shows up on our presentation is 522?
No, actually, there is a gap higher. This is, you're just seeing the two Warner Swayze components. The actual gap, or I should say the actual project, is a $60 million project. The overall gap is around $6 million approximately.
And what does it include besides what we saw today?
New market tax credits, and actually that's the largest, the third line item of another $20-ish million.
So, but the gap to get this piece started is 5 something?
For Warner Swayze 1 and 2, which we showed, yes. The overall project, the gap is $6 million.
So is it 522 for 1 and 479 for 2?
As of today, yes, and that will change, as we know. We just had a 50% page turn, if you will, which is for drawings for the property.
Right.
And we just stopped there because we need to close the gap before we spend more money on the soft cost.
Agreed, understood. So you just got 25% of what you need to close 1 and 2? Right. And where are you going to get the remaining 75%?
We have a meeting actually tomorrow with Senator Dolan. We are going for ARPA funds. We're going to the state. There's potential transit funds because we are so close to the RTA. We're exploring every opportunity possible to close the overall gap.
Okay, so that's the piece that you're going to be responsible for, trying to close that $1 million gap for 1 and 2?
Oh, we're actually trying to close the gap for the whole project, ma'am.
Okay, in conjunction
Correct.
with Penrose. Okay. Because of course, when we set aside money for something, we like to know approximately when we can, and this is my direct route downtown, so every time I come and go, yes, this morning I sat at the stoplight beside it for my 3.5 minutes. So we want to know when we're going to see this begin. Because I was surprised on my way to see, and I'm blanking on the name of the new housing construction that's about 10 blocks east. It looks like townhouse
The
development.
Foundry Lofts, it's our first new construction, multifamily housing in decades in Midtown. This is the
What's the name
second
of it
phase that
again?
you're seeing. I'm sorry?
What's the name of it
The
again?
Foundry Lofts.
And did they begin construction when?
The second phase started construction over the summer.
Okay. So it was just masked by the construction fencing, and now it's above the construction fencing. What's the total project cost on that project?
I don't recall off the top of my head, ma'am.
Okay, who's the developer?
Signet is the developer.
If there are no other questions, I'd like to move this project forward, and give our contribution. Will you update staff? Cynthia Mason, is our community development, policy advisor. Update staff on the progress of collecting the remaining 75%, so we can know when you're going to, at least take a stab at closing next spring. If there are no further questions or objections, I accept a motion to move this forward.
So moved.
Is there a second? The motion has been moved and seconded. Since these are not ARPA funds, this can move forward to council expeditiously. Hearing no further questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Since there are no opposition, congratulations. This project moves forward to county council so that we can get you in the process of closing the gap on your capital stack.
Just to confirm, Madam Chair, this is for second reading suspension?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-0308, authorizing an agreement with the City of Lakewood in the amount not to exceed $1,091,667 for tenant-based rental assistance services in connection with the American Rescue Plan for Home Investment Partnership Program for the period October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2025.
Good morning. You've been deputized?
No, I'm looking forward to it.
You're speaking on behalf of Sarah this morning?
Correct.
Okay, that was what I meant when I said deputized. Okay, go ahead. Name?
Yes, Prentice Jackson Jr., speaking on behalf of the Department of Housing and Community Development, on behalf of Sarah Parks Jackson. I am here for seeking approval for the City of Lakewood's home ARPA financing. The City of Lakewood has received their appropriation of $1,091,667 of ARPA funds for their tenant-based rental assistance program to help citizens or residents of the county for subsidies on their rent, on their security deposits, for utility assistance, and for down payment assistance.
This is home fund, home and ARPA?
Home ARPA funding, yes. So,
Okay,
home
so
invest-
the ARPA, it's ARPA funds, but there was a home-based allocation?
Yes.
As piece of that?
Yes.
That we were required to meet?
yes,
And so this is how Lakewood would like to use it on theirs?
correct.
Questions from my colleagues? Is there a matching piece? Is Lakewood investing something in this besides the funds that are come through the county?
No, they also have another home allocation that we receive yearly, and that is approximately $276,000 for the year 2021 and $315,000 for 2022.
Is the city managing it, or is there nonprofit managing it for them?
Lakewood Community Services Center will be managing the project for them.
If there are no further questions, a motion for approval
So moved.
and a second. It's moved and seconded. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, Madam Clerk, this moves forward to the full body with the standard ARPA restrictions. You can tell Director Parks Jackson that it was approved.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk? Is there any
That-
additional business for the body today?
No, there's no other business.
Miscellaneous comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.